Little black book. You know what time it is. Time it is. Time it
You
is.
ain't got
Time it
the
is.
minerals, baby.
Hey guys, we're back with a Little Black Book. You already know what time it is, baby. Listen, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for the notification of the uploads, baby. And for those of you who are Mineral Gang, hey, listen, make sure you get your merchandise down below, yeah, man. Listen, if you're Minerals Gang, then you already know what time it is, baby.
You ain't got the minerals, baby.
If you can't handle the heat in the kitchen, get out. If you can't handle the heat in the kitchen, Chile, get out. Gege, are you mad? Are you mad? Are you lean? Listen, so we're giving you guys a quick overall of Married at First Sight, and then we'll give you some separate videos about each individual couple as well going forward. So yeah, I mean, just in this episode, crazy. I missed episode 2. I don't know. I kind of did a notes for it, but I wasn't really enjoying it, and there wasn't really much that was really going on. But what I'll do is I'll just try and combine some stuff from episode 2 to episode 3. So just overall, I think in this particular episode, gone on the honeymoon and stuff like that, what I noticed was obviously the fact that when people got together to go to the hotel, the honeymoon, my instant reaction was obviously straight to Meka and Michael, because their behaviour was very, very odd. Now, obviously, we find out later on they had an argument on the plane. I think that was quite obvious, because from the plane to there, and to have the reaction that he's doing, that he was trailing behind, whereas every other couple was together. And you know how I feel about glasses, you know, when you know how I feel about sunglasses, bruv. So, you know, when I saw him trailing behind, he had a sunglasses on, he had his backpack on, and it just looked like he wasn't really there. Even the toast they were doing, it just seemed a bit odd, do you get me? Because of the distance that he was keeping. And so I knew that something wasn't correct. I knew something wasn't 100% correct with them, not right. And then obviously, you know, going into the elevator, you can see how long he's taking. She's not acknowledging him, even though she's holding the elevator door open as well. And you have to understand, when you're in group settings, yeah, like something like that where there's couples around, you stick out like a sore thumb when you are not showing cohesion, when you're not showing a sense of teamwork, and when there is I guess space between you and the individual emotionally. It shows physically. And that's where oftentimes people can see that a relationship is somewhere that is maybe not in a good place. And so when I saw that with Meka and Michael, I was like, oh man, something obviously went down that plane that was serious, because he's keeping his distance from her, and she's keeping his distance from him, if you want to call it that as well. But yeah, it looked bad, you know, from our extent. And I was like, oh man, you know, what was said, what happened, what could have been so antagonistic that, you know what, you get off the plane, you're at the hotel, and you want to be having your space. Because I know that you know, I know that behavior. You know, when you were younger, like when you were like 17, 18, 16, and you had an argument with your gal, and then you're just like, well, give me my space, I don't want to talk to nobody, and it's like that kind of feel. Because Michael wasn't talking to anybody. Like not just even her, he wasn't talking to anybody. It's not like he was talking to the group. It's not like he was talking to people in the group. Like, he wasn't talking to anybody, because at the end of the day, he was so stressed about the situation, or pissed off about the situation, that it caused him to feel detached from everybody. So yeah, that was interesting to watch in terms of the overall. I think also as well, just watching overall, Austin and Jess got a great sense of their relationship, that they are, you know, doing well, and actually they're very well suited, because they've both got this quirky awkwardness. They both love making jokes. Both you know, got a great sense of energy as well. I mean, even at the wedding, you know, after the wedding, they made some jokes about, you know, drinking a drink, and he was like, and she said, oh my god, you sound like a commercial. And then fast forward now to episode 3, and we're just seeing them coming together, where we're just seeing them kind of have this quirky sense of joking. You know, even when I think she went outside, and then she came in and she let in some lizard or whatever it was, or chameleon, whatever it was, and she's like, you gotta kill it, that's you, like and you see this great chemistry between them two, where it's just, they're both awkward but both funny, both you know, got this comedic sense of them, and actually that's quite an endearing thing to see both of you got that same kind of trait going on as well. I think watching also Brandon and Taylor, I don't know if you guys are aware, they already filed for divorce, and I think for me where I was just trying to see why would it get to that point, right? Because there's always steps before it gets to that point. It doesn't just naturally, no one just naturally breaks up. Like, do you know what I mean? There are steps that take you there. And so for me, when I was watching them, I wasn't seeing anything bad. I love the fact that, you know, there was a bit of joking, a bit of banter. Sometimes Brandon's a little bit understated in the sense of when Taylor makes a little bit of a joke, he kind of laughs, but not like, it's not like he's laughing. It's like almost like, you know, when you got to do your fake laugh for the colleagues at work. That's how it almost sounds like sometimes. But, you know, they do have some kind of good chemistry, and you can see that physically, definitely physically. Whether there's an emotional sense there, we're going to have to wait and see. We'll do that in another review. But yeah, I felt like for them, the major thing is, I picked up on one thing that was kind of big, and it was when Taylor had come back from the family, and she said, obviously, she repeated it to him by saying, look, you know what, I don't mind, obviously, some person being blunt, just like, I hate disrespectfulness, like, you know what I mean, I hate to be disrespected. And the thing is, I always say this as well, like, being rude, being blunt, oftentimes is an excuse for people being rude. So there's often times where people like cover up their rudeness with, oh, I'm just blunt, I'm black and white. No, you're rude. There's a difference. You understand? Being blunt also has wisdom in it. You know when to be blunt and when not to be blunt. If you're blunt all the time, you are rude. I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. No, they're just a blunt person. No, you're rude. Because you've got to a place where you think you're comfortable enough to keep being blunt to people and not considering their feelings. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't be blunt 24/7. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear nothing else. I used to be like that, do you know what I mean, where, oh no, I just say it as it is, and you know, I'm straight to the point and did it. No, but you know how people feel when you do that. You cannot always be that way. You cannot always be that way, because people's feelings need to be kept intact. And if people were blunt to you 24/7, you'd feel a certain way. Oh no, I love it if I don't mind if people are blunt. You know, I expect people to get straight to the point. Yeah, but there's a way that you're doing it which is not in love. So therefore, stop it. So, you know, the family have mentioned when they're in the vows, and also when she met them, that, you know, there was a bit that he's blunt and, you know, can be you know, straight to the point. And they, you know, and for me, like I said, if they've mentioned that twice, that's a big deal, and potentially why he ends up not in relationships very long, because that kind of bluntness is a cover up for rudeness. So what is it that you're being rude about? Like, what is it that where's the pain that's inside of you that's causing you to be this blunt and causing you to say certain things in a certain way to certain opposite sex, that's causing you not to be in great relationships? You know what I mean? So yeah, that was my kind of thing. I was looking at going, okay, because Taylor doesn't look like a sensitive person, but she doesn't like disrespect, and I can tell that that's going to be the thing that's going to lead to a major problem, because if he continues being disrespectful, you know, he may find a tiger in Taylor as well. I think obviously as well, watching Austin and Katie as well, really like their relationship. You know, obviously, Kate, you know me, I've still got a problem with the fact that Katie hasn't told him about the ex-boyfriend thing, and we don't have an update in terms of where they're at with that. But right now it's really sweet and really nice, and I think the main thing I picked up from them was respect the fact that Derek went about it and actually asked the father as well for the blessings. Like, he's obviously old school, so I respect that. And yeah, there was no real bad points from them two, really. It was just a case of the fact that, you know, Katie hasn't told him about the ex-boyfriend thing, and I don't know if that's still an issue. We haven't had any clarity on it yet. We haven't heard anything. You know, we know she chose Derek, but we don't know if she closed the deal. Has she finished it off with the ex-boyfriend? Like, what going with that, fam? Like, where are we at with that? You know what I'm saying? That's what we want to know, so that we know where we stand. But other than that, these two are an amazing couple. Just like, they're really sweet, and I can see that Katie likes him because he's doing things that other men have not done before, which is really take care of her and really put her at the forefront. And you know, my only concern for them is that this is his first love, and when it's your first love, brother, you do things above and beyond, and when your heart gets broken finally, you can turn into a vindictive monster. I'm telling you, when your heart finally gets broken and you see the world is not freaking as it is, like it's the Matrix, you took the pill, my guy, you suddenly become different. Yeah, and that's my only concern. And I guess lastly as well, Zach and Mindy. Well, you know what, fam? I already called this already. I already knew they were going to go this way because I can't say called it, but I personally didn't think Mindy was the attractive type for Zach. Yeah, and we had that admitted on the show. And I didn't really think that was his type. I just didn't see it. I know she's classy. I know she's elegant looking. I just didn't see the fact that she is his physical type. And he says that, you know, in the show, which is really, really sad to hear from Mindy's point of view. I just think for me, like I said, I think the main thing for us is is to see the deterioration of Zach and to see where he's going to go with his unemotional self. You know, the family said, obviously, you know, sometimes he might not give you that emotional response at the time. Well, there's a problem with that. A lack of emotional response at the time can also mean the person tries to separate themselves from emotions to avoid pain. So they disassociate themselves and detach themselves from that emotion so that they can act in a logical manner. The problem with that is we're not logical beings solely, and that can be a frustrating thing for somebody who's in a relationship with you. If there's meant to be an emotional response in accordance with certain situations and you come with a logical sense, you become inhumane. Do you know what I mean? Like imagine someone dies, right? And then you come with, well, you know, we all die, and you know that's the fact of life. You know, we will all die at one point. Now that's a logical fact, and it's truthful, but it's inhumane. It doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have any emotion behind it. You said everyone's gonna die. We know everyone's gonna die. Like everybody knows that, but there was no emotion, no compassion between it because you're not attaching a situation with emotion at that time, and that's why I'm saying it's dangerous. Because you can then become very logical and very inhumane, and you come off cold and callous. So if you're like that, you might want to check yourself before you wreck yourself and your partner. So yeah, that's a quick rundown. I guess obviously the last kind of thing is that you know what Mindy also said about, you know, comparing herself to the other couples. And look, when it comes to relationships, it can be easy to compare yourself, but comparisons are thief of joy. Yeah, you know when there's not really something to compare against, you're just comparing because, you know, you feel like maybe, I don't know. It's sometimes tough because I understand why people compare. It's just a thing that when you do begin to compare, you begin to notice everything you don't have, and then you lack contentment. Now there are times when you need to compare because you're doing some things that are wrong, and that's a review. No worries. But there are times where you're comparing and it's like, do you need to compare? Like, is that going to benefit anybody here? And so that's also an issue as well there. So, you know, I understand her point of view, but sometimes you just got to be content. But I think it's going to be very interesting with their relationship anyway. And we'll break down some of the things that happened with them, and then we'll go into that review as well. So yeah, guys, that was a quick rundown of MAFs, of what happened overall this episode. Now check out the other reviews that are coming as well in regards to the actual couples themselves. Alright guys, you already know what time it is, baby. Are you mad? Are you lean? Get gay. Make sure you join the Mineral Gang. Get your merchandise down below. Click on that button right now. Get your merchandise and join the Mineral Gang, baby. You understand? Yeah, I appreciate you, my guys. Yeah.